Okay, now, the other accomplishment that your office inside the White House has largely been credited with is criminal justice reform. And I was wondering if you could sort of lay out the details there, because I've been more critical of criminal justice reform. I'm a very tough on crime right winger, which means that my belief is that I've seen it in California, letting people out of jail early in the hopes that they are not going to be recidivists has largely redounded to the negative in the state of California. But what does criminal justice reform do, and what doesn't it do?
So you're being a right-wing, tough on crime is very much in line with my boss, President Trump, and he feels the same way. I mean, he's very strong on law and order and doing it. Now, in politics, a term like criminal justice reform, again, there's about 1,000 shades of gray, and there's a lot of different definitions for what it can mean. And any policy or any element, taken to an extreme could be bad, and even things that are good. And so the criminal justice reform that we put in place is not about letting murders and rapists out of prison, like some of the opponents tried to criticize it. And it's not like what they did in New York, which was the no cash bail, which went way too far, which made the streets less safe. The whole notion of what we did was we brought law enforcement together along with the advocates community. And we said, what can we do to reduce crime? And what we did is we followed the models that they did in a lot of Republican states like Georgia and Texas and Kentucky, where what they did is they took the prisons and they basically said, we have a lot of people in these prisons who have a high likelihood, just per the data, of going on to commit future crimes. So in any business, if you know where your future customers are coming from, that's where you want to market to. And then, as a country, we have been having this philosophical debate over the last years, which is, what's the purpose of our prisons? Is it to, punish people? Is it to warehouse people? Or is it to rehabilitate people? So it does cost the taxpayers a lot of money every year to house people in prison. And then in addition to that, if they're all going to get out anyway, or most of them, I think 96, 97% of people are going to leave. So, when they leave, the question is, what product are you sending back into your communities? So if while you have them in your custody, you can give them skills training and you can help them, deal with whatever substance abuse issues they have or mental issues and help them get the help they need and then help them transition back into the community, then what you're doing is you're reducing costs by not having them come back. You're also reducing future crime by getting them back into a job. So the criminal justice reform that we did brought programs that were very successful that helped people reenter society to the federal level. And then what we saw was 13 states copied that. And I think that by and large has been a very successful program. There are some things that come under the quote unquote title of criminal justice reform that this administration has not pushed for. So we're not supportive of every element of it. But when things are common sense that can both help people live better lives, we do believe in second chances. America's a country of second chance. We don't want to judge people by their worst mistake they've ever made. People have the right for redemption, but we also want to keep communities safe. And for me, this was a very personal one that I probably wouldn't have understood. My father went to prison for a year, and I went and visited him every week, and it was something that I met a lot of people who were in prison, and what I found was there were some people who were just bad people. For whatever reason, they had rough childhoods or rough experiences, but there were also a lot of people in prison who were good people who made a mistake. And then they, dug themselves into a hole, and then they just, to try to get out, did worse and worse things to dig themselves out. And then there were some people who, made a mistake and they really wanted to turn around their lives. So, just because these people are there, does this mean that, the society should turn their back on them? They're Americans, they're human beings, and the right thing to do is to try to help them find their way. And so, when I was in the private sector, we had a second chance program in our company where we took people out of Rikers and we gave them mentorship and training and helped teach them skills, and they became some of our most phenomenal employees in the company. So I do believe that, we have a responsibility in society to, help everyone and to do a difference. And this is one of the policies that's been very successful in keeping our community safe, but also, being kind to the people who need kindness the most.
I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Ben Shapiro Show Sunday Special. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you stay up to date on all of our future content.